Pujayatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with mystic song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called O Goddess Lakshmi, Smile Upon Me. O Goddess Lakshmi, smile upon me, 'cause thy sidelong glance unto me, awaken me from my long, long dream. In the garden of my life, let every leaf that blows in the wind turn into radiant gold. Let every flower become a perfect gem that lights up my lonely heart. O Goddess Lakshmi, grant me the vision of thy lotus feet on the sands of eternity. Inspire me to climb the mystic mountain. Let my soul become a cascading stream of your grace, carrying a love unknown to all who walk on earth. O Goddess Lakshmi, smile on me. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujayatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is July 31st, 2020, Friday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Tulsi Ramayana. This is series 2016, class number 215. And now Pujayatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Neelambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayak Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Sri Ramcharitmanas in Ayodhya Kand, verse number 233 onwards. And the context of the story, Bharata, with all the royal assembly and queens and guru and elders and a vast army, all set, Bharata set, is coming to meet Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, who are in the forest. And Bharata is being led by Guha Nishad, the friend of Rama. And in this setting, many insights have been given into the role of devotion, bhakti. Because Bharata is a personification of devotion. And all that he is doing, giving you illustration of what type of vision a devotee has and goes on developing towards God. That's Rama. From another point of view, Rama represents the goal out of 4 aspects of yoga. Karma is represented by Shatrughna. Bhakti represented by Bharata. Dhyana, path of meditation and willpower, represented by Arjuna. And the climax of the yogic movement, wisdom, not intellectual, realizing who am I, represented by Rama. All these 4 go together, but the highlighted aspect of spiritual progress is bhakti, devotion. And Bharata is bringing out that insight. जौ परिहरहि मलिन मनु जानी, जौ सनमानहि सेवक मानी, मोरे शरण राम ही की पनहि, राम सुस्वामी दोसु सब जन ही. Bharata goes on reflecting within his own mind. Will Rama accept me? Will he be pleased to see me? And all that he and his mother in the storyline, Kaikeyi, it was Kaikeyi's plot that brought about the condition of Rama being banished in the forest. Subtle insight I have given already, that's the role of wisdom. But Bharata is reflecting within himself, giving you a simple illustration that when you practice japa, devotional disciplines, internally another voice comes from within your own self. I am so involved with the world, always thinking of the world, and gripped by so many negative things. And according to the astrologer, gripped by a lot of karmas. I'm putting some humor to it. So will Rama ever accept me? Will I gain success in pleasing God with so many defects? And what you are being led to understand, that a devotional movement should not entertain that type of doubt. Because you can doubt yourself, but you can't doubt God's boundless love. And when you come to realize that you are being led by God, and more profoundly, you are in the arms of God, then doubting, will Rama love me? The doubting is kind of insulting God. You are in the mother's arms looking to her eyes. And then you're developing a doubt in your mind. Is he angry with me? Will she twist my neck? I'm just giving a humorous way to understand what trust in God implies. And I'm saying it very quickly, but that trust is like working with a rust. Rust can't be removed easily. So it requires sustained sadhana, sustained satsanga, and persistent movement to have the ideal trust. And you go on discovering. The more you discover, greater is your sense of three things. Sahaj, your spiritual movement and a struggle in life becomes sahaj. Big things you face, but you don't become sunk in despair. So that's called, you are gaining a spiritual strength. And that makes challenging situations to cross through in a simple way. Next, saras. But while you are fighting your battle, you are not looking back, oh, how many things I have gone through, all the miseries I have gone through, and now how long I have to go on. If you do that, your movement is not saras, kuras. You are bringing wrong sentiments mixing up with your sadhana. But your sadhana now begins to bring out ras. You feel increasing inspiration. And deep down your heart becomes eager to enjoy more and more and more. So it's called saras. And finally, sanidhya. Sanidhya means you are now in the hands of God. And you have three aspects. You view yourself an instrument in God's hands. You view yourself as a ray of God, growing in the image of God. And finally, you are the God. You are like the sun expressing through drifting clouds. So Bharata says, if Rama abandons me, or if he accepts me as his servant, no matter whatever may be his attitude, I have surrendered to the shoes of Rama, to the sandals of Rama. Rama is always the best. Faults are always with the servant. So you have accepted your faults, not faults that will separate you from God. Once you have come to that state, accepting your faults is just an act of spiritual humility. It is rather a divine quality that you are focused on the goal of self-effacement. You don't want to be recognized as I am the ego personality. Once that state of mind has come, eager to bring about self-effacement, you have started practicing surrender to God. And when you have surrendered to God, you know your defects, but you know also God's immense power. You know your weaknesses, but you also know the miracles of God's grace. So therefore, you don't allow your mind to be shaken. And if whenever your mind is shaken, you bring to your mind these points I am saying, and learn to get out of that state of weakness. Jagajas bhajan chatak meena, nema pema jimnija nipun navina, asaman gunat chale magajata, sakuch saneh shithil sabagata. Bharata is thinking within himself, but he's thinking aloud. Tulsidas is listening to his thought. In this world, blessed are those birds called chatak. They express immense love for the moon. And fish that expresses immense love for water. And these points I have mentioned before. These are all allegorical points. You have Chatak Drishti, develop a vision. God is so loving, He is the absolute beloved. And just like Chataka continues to be intoxicated looking at the moon, that should be your goal. Chatak Drishti. Coming to next point, fish drishti, Meenakshi. I'm not using mean term. Gives you confusion. But Sanskrit word mean is not mean. It means fish. And in Indian tradition, fish is a commendable allegorical way of describing the beauty of the eyes. Someone has fish eyes. Meenakshi. But Meenakshi means why this is so beautiful. Firstly, fishes never close their eyes. They are constantly alert, symbolizing a persistent vigilance. Secondly, fish taken out of water will die, but it will not survive. It will always stay in water. So when you have developed that type of feeling in your heart that God has become like ocean of water or river or whatever, and you cannot be separated from Him, as well as vigilance. God loves you during the day, during the night, and always. असमन गुणत चले मग जाता, सकुच स्नेह शिथिल सब गाता. So, thinking about himself to be like the chataka bird or to be like fish, he goes on progressing towards meeting Rama. And all the time there is a thrill entering his heart of the joy that he is going to experience when Rama meets him. That experience of joy is bringing to his body a thrill, horripilation, a sense of ecstasy. फेरति मनहु मातु कृत खोरी, चलत भगति बल धीरज धोरी. जब रज समुझत रघुनाथ सुभाऊ, तब पथ परत कुता इलर पाऊ. And sometimes his mind turns to the deeds done by Kaikeyi, his mother, which is a discouraging vision. But then, summoning up his courage, Bharata moves on. And thinking about the gracious nature of Rama, his doubts move away and his feet begin to move faster with great joy that he is bound to meet Rama. The subtle point is being given to the aspirant. Look at how much thrill is expressing in Bharata personality. And that's what awaits you. That's what bhakti will bring to in your personality, in your life. And how wonderful it will be. A joyous relationship with God. A profound attunement with God. movement to God realization. These become highlighted in your life. That's a blessed life. भरत दशा एते ही अवसर कैसी, जल प्रवाह जल अलिगति जैसी, देखी भरत कर सोच सनेहू, भा निषाद ते समय विदेहू. And Bharata, in this state of internal thrill, as he moves on, he appears like a special type of a bee that goes after a larva that's floating on the ocean or on the river. And all the while, the bird or the black bee all the time is so delighted, experiences a thrill every moment as the bee buzzes over that larva, and larva is floating all the time. So it is a joy at the same time, a stream of flowing on, both blended. लगे होन मंगल सगुन, सुनि गुनि कहत निषादु, मिटहि सोच हो यही हरषु, पुनि परिणाम विषादु. Firstly, seeing Bharata's devotional state of mind, listening to what he goes on saying, Nishad is himself so inspired that he has become bodiless. And he is experiencing some auspicious omens. Having his own interpretation of how he is experiencing, Nishad tells Bharata that all this trouble will be over. Bharata will have wonderful delight, but leaves the room. Things may not be exactly the way Bharata wants. But that doesn't mean it's negative. But apparently, the project that Bharata is holding in his mind, that is to give Rama coronation ceremony right even in the forest itself. And that Guha Nishad has deep insight that Rama's role is different. He is not going to return. But he doesn't want to say to Bharata. सेवक बचन सत्य सब जाने, आश्रम निकट जाई नियराने. And Bharata was very much inspired by the words of Guha Nishad. And soon they reach closer and closer to where Rama was residing. भरत दीख बन सैल समाजू मुदित चुधित जनु पाई सुनाजू. When Bharata saw that forest and a chain of mountains in that forest, the whole setting of the nature, picturesque setting of nature, Bharata was extremely delighted. As if someone who has been starving for a long time and has been presented with a wonderful dish, not one dish, but a whole plate of wonderful dishes. The whole vision of the Prakriti nature where Rama was dwelling. Since Rama was dwelling there, to Bharata's eyes, the entire setting has become transformed in a divine way. He doesn't see a tree as a tree. He doesn't see a bird as ordinary bird. The entire forest became a source of immense inspiration. Iti bhiti janu praja dukhari trividata papidita grahasa mari. जाई सुराज सुदेश सुखारी होही बढ़त गति तेहि अनुसारी. Now, very allegorical description. People who are suffering from calamities. There are two types of calamities. One type called iti, another type called bhiti. Let me give you the calamity known as iti. Sanskrit was iti, means finish. Here is a calamity that appears like it will finish up, destroy everything. That's called iti. And what are the itis? There are about 6 types of troubles. They are called iti. First, torrential rain for a long time, called ativrishti, too much rain. Next one, anavrishti, no rain at all. Next, troubles created by rats. Mushaka. Troubles created by locusts. Sanskrit word shallabha. Troubles created by birds who eat up all the harvesting. Farmer has done everything well harvested, and a flock of special type of birds come and they pick up everything before the farmer can be collecting his harvest. And last trouble, the political trouble. Some enemy king attacks. So all these are called iti. And bhiti refers to 3 types of tapas: subjective, or internal troubles arising within your own body and mind. Adhibhautik, troubles arising out of the world around you. Adhidaivik, troubles arising out of act of divine will, act of God. Big storms, big catastrophe, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and so forth. In a subtle way, you are being given the idea what the world is. You are constantly afflicted by iti and viti. And now, if bhakti has entered and you are moving towards Godward movement, to God, all iti and viti will move away. And instead there will be a transformation. Ramabhasa ban sampati bhraja, sukhi praja janupai suraja. Now, having given the picture of calamities, now a picture of great joyous kingdom. The entire forest appeared to Bharata as a very joyous kingdom, prosperous kingdom. Sachiva virag vivek nireshu vipina subhavana pavana deshu. And who is the king of this kingdom? Vivek, discriminative knowledge. Who is the minister? Vairagya. Bhat jama niyam shail rajadhani, santi sumati suchi sundar rani, sakala anga sampanna surau, ramacharana ashrita chita chau. And his attendants are yamas and niyamas. Yamas, your ahimsa, non-violence, satyam, truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, sublimating passion, and aparigraha, non-covetousness. All these are the close attendants of the king called Viveka. So it's an allegorical picture, using the setting of Rama and Bharata coming there. You are beginning all this insight. The next type of attendant is niyamas. Shauch, physical, mental purity. Santosh, contentment. Tapa, austerity. Swadhyaya, study of scriptures. And Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender to God. These are not only attendants, they are also big warriors that protect the king. And the mountain is the capital city of this kingdom. In storyline, the name of the mountain is called Chitrakoot. The whole mountain is beautiful like a picture. How cute. Chitrakoot. I'm doing humorous meaning. And the king, Vivek, discriminative knowledge, that's the king. Who are his queens? There are two of them. Shanti and Subuddhi. Shanti, peace. So any movement towards serenity, harmony, adaptability, and ultimately peace. All that is in one word, Shanti. Subuddhi, same as Sanmati, that type of understanding that goes on removing troubles, straightening your path, putting your ducks together for real success. And real success is liberation. So this right type of understanding and that right understanding has a friend, as it were, and that's known as Shanti. Shanti and Sumati, these are the queens. Sakala anga sampanna surau, Ramacharana ashrita chitta chau. This kingdom is so prosperous, all the aspects of the kingdom are perfect. The aspects of the kingdom are called 7 limbs of the kingdom, Saptanga. What is that? The king himself, first, minister, second, attendants, third, treasury, fourth, kingdom itself, fifth, Durg, castles, sixth, and the army, 7. The 7 points where they go to describe any kingdom or king. When you are studying history, you are led to go through all these points. How much was his army, how big was his treasury, and what a strength he had in his castles, and so forth. But here, allegorically, the forest site where Rama dwells is being described as that past kingdom, divine kingdom. And Rama is the king, who is the embodiment of wisdom. Jiti moha mahipalu dal, sahit viveka bhuvalu, karata atkantaka raja puru, sukha sampada sukalu. And this Rama's setting is further described. This king, Viveka, has conquered the kingdom of Moha and now ruling over the kingdom in a very peaceful manner. And this entire kingdom abounds with happiness, prosperity, and wondrous opportunities. Ban Pradesh Muni Tras Ghanere. No, Man Ban Pradesh Muni Bas Ghanere. Janupur Nagar Gaon Gan Khere. Vipula Vichitra Bihagam Nana. Praja Samaju na Jai Bakana. And in that forest, great sages, spiritual personalities, they abide, they live in that type of forest. As if the forest is well enriched by towns, villages, cities, and farms. Which will be Vichitra Vihaga Briganana Praja Samajuna Jai Bakana. And who are the subjects in the forest, in this kingdom where Rama abides? Beautiful birds, numerous animals, they are the subjects of that forest. You must realize these are all allegorical pictures. Good people who are righteous, gracious, they are the birds. Human beings who are all spiritual seekers, they become birds, otherwise they are worried. Birds don't worry, they simply fly. So when you become birds, you don't become literally birds, but bird-like. Khagaha kari hari bhag, bhag baraha, dekhi mahish brish, saju saraha. All the animals are being mentioned. Elephant, lion, tiger, hog, buffaloes, oxen, and numerous animals. All these are subjects. And all these subjects, they live together, strengthening the kingdom, bringing the glory into the kingdom without animosity, with perfect unity. Bhairubihai charahi ekasanga. They have no animosity, they are all united together. Jahatahas manahu sena chaturanga. As if all these go to form Chaturangini Sena, four-aspected army, foot soldiers, chariot soldiers, elephant, horse, all this we have mentioned before. Several points that relates to the plan of integral yoga. When the four aspects of your personality are being integrated, you are moving with Chaturangini Sena. The strength of karma, the strength of love, the strength of will, the strength of understanding. All these are forms of strength there. Each one is kind of an army. Karma is your foot soldiers. झरना झरहि मत्त गज गाजहि मनहु निशान विविध विधि बाजहि. And beautiful waterfalls cascade, and intoxicated elephants, out of great joy they are trumpeting. They are the musicians in that forest, beating the drums. And the assembly that joins together with all the beat of drums, they are birds, different types of birds, parrots, cuckoos, nightingales, swans, ducks, and all types of birds. अलिगन गावत नाचत मोरा जनु सुराज मंगल चहु ओरा. And this profound setting of the whole forest you are being given a very subtle point. The same word that appears to the masses like a dreadful forest. Lot of thorns, lot of pits, lot of vultures, lot of troubles. Same forest now has become a divine forest. Why? The Rama dwells there. And everything about the forest is so beautiful. The black bees, the whole crowd of black bees are buzzing, humming. Peacocks are dancing. Big celebration is going on all over the forest. And further, different type of trees, creepers, flowers, blossoms, fruits, all these go to embellish that forest. It's a joyous set, full of joy and source of all that is auspicious. राम सैल शोभा निरखी भरत हृदय अति प्रेम तापस तप प्रभु फलु पाई जिमि सुखी सिराने नेम. Seeing this mountain where Rama delights or resides, Bharata's heart welled up with immense devotion. And his joy is as if an ascetic who has done lot of austerity for a long time, and suddenly he finds the success of all his austerity. That was the condition of Bharata. And with this I will conclude. Om Ram 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 Om Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for shower of divine grace, Karunamaya Ras of God for all, relieving all of misery and turning this world of thorny forest into Rama's abode. May all have joyous spiritual enrichment and let the bhakti blossom in the heart of all. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshema Mritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Are there any questions tonight? Okay, well, we conclude. Swamiji will guide meditation tomorrow night at 7:30.